Prison riot in Mozambique's capital, Maputo, left 33 people dead and 15 injured as civil unrest linked to October's disputed election continues. A day after violent protest and looting spread across Mozambique's capital, smoke billowed from destroyed buildings and charred and broken objects in shops and municipal buildings remained as residents gathered in the streets. A decision on Monday by Mozambique's top court confirming long ruling party Frelimo's victory in the election sparked fresh nationwide protest by opposition groups and their supporters who say the vote was rigged. The country's police general commander, Bernardino Rafael, blamed a protest outside the prison for encouraging the riots inside the prison, while Justice Minister Helena Kiraset said that the unrest started inside the prison and were not linked with protest outside. Rafael said about 1,534 people escaped from the prison in the incident, but 150 have now been recaptured.
What we expect after escape of 1,534 inmates who committed major crimes in the country is that in the next 40 or 48 hours, there will be dizzying increase in crime in Maputo. Increase of all types of crimes because they are specialists in all types of crimes. There will be an increase in robberies, assaults, rape of women, car theft, armed robberies, even kidnappings.
Well, an Azerbaijan Airlines passenger jet crashed on Wednesday in western Kazakhstan after traveling far off course, killing 38 of the 67 people on board. The Embraer 190 aircraft that was supposed to fly northwest from the Azerbaijani capital Baku to the city of Grozny in Chechnya in southern Russia instead flew across the Caspian Sea and went down near the city of Aktau in Kazakhstan. According to Azerbaijan's airlines, among all the 67 people on board, 62 were passengers and 5 were crew members. Kazakh media reports showed that the passengers on board included 37 citizens from Azerbaijan, 16 from Russia, 6 from Kazakhstan and 3 from Kyrgyzstan. Azerbaijan Airlines has suspended all its flights from Baku to Russia's Chechnya region until an investigation into a fatal crash involving one of its planes is finished. The airline also held a press briefing at Baku airport on the crash in which it assured psychological support for the kin of the victims.
A medical team and necessary medical equipment have been sent to Kazakhstan by air. A hotline has been established for the family members of the passengers on board, and the public has been informed about it. Psychological support will be provided to the family members of all the passengers regardless of their nationality as well as to the injured passengers.
Meanwhile, Russia's emergencies ministry has sent a medical evacuation flight to Kazakhstan to bring back Russian nationals who survived the Azerbaijan Airlines plane crash. The ministry posted a short video showing the special medical evacuation flight being readied to depart Moscow for Aktau. The IL-76 plane will carry a team of doctors and psychologists as well as essential medical equipment as per the ministry. And on to the ongoing Russia-Ukraine conflict. Russia on Wednesday launched a major airstrike targeting Ukraine's energy infrastructure, leaving at least 1 dead while injuring 6 others. In response, Ukraine issued a nationwide air alert with residents taking shelter in metro stations in Kyiv. Said Absarul Hassan has filed this report.
Russia on Wednesday launched a massive air strike on Ukraine's energy infrastructure in northeastern region. Russian Defense Ministry said in a statement that Ukraine's critical energy facilities that support the work of Kyiv's military-industrial complex was targeted. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said that Russia had attacked Ukraine's energy system and some cities with cruise and ballistic missiles plus drones. Ukrainian military launched a countrywide air alert in response to Russian cruise missile launches. Kyiv resident took shelter at metro station on Wednesday. Families with children and pets sat or slept on mats inside the metro in early hours of Christmas morning. In retaliation, Ukraine also hit back at Russia. A Ukrainian strike killed 4 people and injured 5 in the Russian town of Lagov in the Kursk region flanking Ukraine. Regional Governor Alexander Hinstein said on Telegram, as a result of barbaric shelling from the Ukrainian armed forces on peaceful Lagov, 3 people were killed and 1 more person died later in hospital. Russia has intensified its attack on the Ukrainian energy sector since spring 2024, damaging almost half of its generating capacity and causing hour-long blackouts throughout the country. The country's largest private energy company, DTEK, said its generating facilities were attacked during the strike, causing serious damages to power equipment. Syed Afsarul Hassan for DD India.
Well, United States President Joe Biden has condemned Russia's Christmas Day attacks on Ukraine, ordering the U.S. Defense Department to accelerate weapons deliveries to Kyiv. In a statement, Biden said the purpose of this attack was to cut off the Ukrainian people's access to heat and electricity during winter and to jeopardize the safety of its grid. And in Israel, families of hostages held by Hamas since October 7, 2023 held a silent sit-in protest in Tel Aviv to demand a hostage deal, but it was cut short due to a security alert. Protesters dressed in white sat down for a silent protest that was scheduled to last for 3 hours, concluding with a candle lighting ceremony to mark the first night of Hanukkah. However, the police dispersed the gathering ahead of time due to security concerns. According to local media, a suspect was detained following a police search of the area. Before the protest, a group of relatives held a press conference in Tel Aviv to urge the Israeli government and international powers to secure a deal for the release of the hostages.
Unfortunately, we are marking the 446th day of our loved ones having been suffering in Hamas tunnels. This is one of the longest, if not the longest, hostage crisis in the history of the modern Western world. This is unacceptable. It has to stop today. Let me be clear, the conditions for a deal were never better. Just yesterday, Israel's leading analyst reported that Israel's deterrence is at an all-time high. This is precisely why we, the families, believe we are at the strongest position ever to secure a deal.
Well, Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz said on Wednesday that Israel will retain security control of Gaza, including by means of buffer zones and controlling posts. Katz was speaking with commanders in southern Gaza. Israel and Hamas traded blame on Wednesday over their failure to conclude a ceasefire agreement, despite progress reported by both sides in past days. Hamas said that Israel had laid down further conditions, while Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu accused the group of going back on understandings already reached.
It is clear what we saw in the area of the penetrating tunnels, what we saw in the area of threats, while we saw the heroic war that eliminated these capabilities. How will we make sure it will not happen again? How will we ensure that security control will be in the hands of the IDF, which will be allowed to act everywhere to prevent threats? We will ensure here in Gaza, as with Lebanon, as with Syria, and in the East, that no more threats will be created against Israeli communities, citizens of the State of Israel, and IDF soldiers.
While Israeli military vehicles made incursions on Wednesday into the area of separation between the Israel-occupied Golan Heights and Syria. Vehicles were seen driving in and out of the fence that separates the UN-patrolled demilitarized zone created after the 1973 Arab-Israeli War, an activity that has continued since the fall of the Bashar al-Assad regime. The United Nations Security Council last week extended a longer-running peacekeeping mission in the Golan Heights rights for 6 months and expressed concern that military activities in the area could escalate tensions. While 14 Syrian police officers were killed and 10 injured in a deadly ambush by forces loyal to the ousted Assad regime in Tartus, officials announced on Thursday. The attack marks escalation in violence just weeks after Bashar al-Assad's overthrow. Syria's new interior minister vowed to crush any threats to national security, denouncing the attackers as remnants of the old regime. Meanwhile, unrest erupted in Homs, prompting an overnight curfew after demonstrations by Alawite and Shiite communities. Tensions have soared as minorities fear retaliation from the Sunni rebels now in power. Scattered protests also fled along the Alawite-dominated coast, highlighting deep divisions in the post-Assad Syria as the new government struggles to assure safety and unity amidst the turmoil. And the Pakistani military conducted air strikes in neighboring Afghanistan late on Tuesday night, targeting hideouts of the Tehrik-e-Taliban Pakistan armed group in Paktika province. According to Afghan Defense Ministry, 46 civilians were killed in the strikes.
Pakistan airstrikes in the eastern border province of Afghanistan killed 46 people on Tuesday night. Taliban government spokesman Zabihullah Mujahid said that those killed were mostly women and children. He also said 6 more people were wounded, mostly children. The Afghan Defense Ministry statement condemned the strikes, calling them barbaric and a clear aggression. Taliban has threatened retaliation, while local residents express anger against Pakistan.
Pakistan is a terrorist country. All these people who were killed were women, children and common people. None of them were Taliban.
I say to Pakistan, don't oppress us. Those who died were women, children and common people. They have killed our mothers and sisters. May God punish you with his wrath.
This is not the first time Pakistan has carried out such operations inside Afghan territory. In March, strikes by Pakistan's military in the border regions of Afghanistan had killed 8 civilians, prompting skirmishes on the frontier. Pakistan has repeatedly accused the Afghan government of harboring armed groups, especially the TTP, which it claims carries out cross-border attacks targeting Pakistani security forces. Last week, TTP fighters claimed responsibility for killing at least 16 Pakistani soldiers in South Waziristan in one of the deadliest recent attacks on security personnel. While the Afghan Taliban deny providing refuge to armed groups or allowing their territory to be used for cross-border attacks, Pakistan asserts that the TTP conducts its operations from Afghan sanctuaries. Bureau Report, TT India.
And now let's take a look at other stories making news around the world. The National Menorah was lit in Washington on Wednesday, marking the start of Hanukkah celebration. Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas attended the 46th annual lighting ceremony, continuing a tradition started in 1979. Emergency workers rescued hundreds of skiers stranded on a broken chairlift in Les Devely, France on Tuesday. The issue was caused by an electrical failure, leaving several hundred people stuck. Helicopters and ropes were used to safely bring people down with no injuries reported. Former Suriname President Desi Botse died on Tuesday at the age of 79. Botse, who fled to avoid jail after being convicted for the murder of 15 political activists, dominated Suriname's politics for decades. And still to come in this edition of DD India Live. Fitness Festival was organized in Udhampur to promote anti-drug, anti-pollution message. Prayagraj is gearing up to host the Grand Mahakumbh Mela 2025, which will take place from January 13 to February 26, 2025. And Hawaii's Kilauea volcano erupts with gold-like lava, dazzling spectators.
December 26, 2004, a devastating earthquake off the coast of Indonesia triggered a tsunami that swept across the Indian Ocean. India was one of the worst affected countries. Today, after 20 years, we reflect on the tragedy and explore how the nation has since fortified itself against such calamities.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Lipakshi Khurana, and moving on, December 26, 2004, a peaceful Sunday morning turned into an unimaginable nightmare as a massive tsunami devastated India's coastlines, claiming countless lives and altering the landscape forever. Now, 20 years later, how prepared is India to face such a threat again? DD India's Tapas Bhattacharya brings you an in-depth look at the nation's readiness to tackle future tsunamis.
Two decades ago, on December 26, 2004, a powerful 9.1 magnitude earthquake struck near Indonesia, causing a deadly tsunami. It affected India's coastal areas. The massive waves claimed around 228,000 lives and caused nearly $10 billion in damage. With no warning systems in place, most victims had no time to escape. India's public broadcaster Doordarshan was quick to respond during the 2004 tsunami. As information dissemination was crucial, they played a vital role in covering rescue efforts directly from the disaster zone.
This place has become a graveyard. The silence of death is all around, and even the sound of the sea cannot drown the silence.
In response to this tragedy, the Indian Ocean Tsunami Warning and Mitigation System was created to monitor seismological changes and issue alerts for impending waves. It receives real-time data from national and international networks, detecting earthquakes of magnitude 6 or greater within just minutes. Key sensors in the deep ocean confirm the triggering of a tsunami.
After this tragic event, which took about 230,000 lives and then impacted so many countries within the region, so the UN gave the mandate, provided the mandate to UNESCO's IOC to establish a end-to-end tsunami early warning and mitigation system in the Indian Ocean region. So that was when the ICG, it's called the Intergovernmental Coordination Group for the Indian Ocean Tsunami Warning and Mitigation System, that was established to actually coordinate with all the countries in the region, all the stakeholders within the region and outside the region to work together.
The Early Warning Center sends advisories to the Ministry of Home Affairs and State Emergency Operations Centers through satellite, phone, fax, SMS and email. Today, thanks to these robust early warning systems, India and other Indian Ocean countries are much better prepared to handle such disasters.
From a nation caught off guard in 2004 to a global leader in tsunami preparedness today, India has come a long way. The establishment of the National Disaster Management Authority symbolizes India's commitment to safeguarding its people against future calamities. With camera person Piyush, this is Tapas Bhattacharya signing off for DD India from Hyderabad.
And we now take you live to Indonesia, where residents of the Aceh province are conducting vigil prayers to commemorate the 20th anniversary of the Indian Ocean tsunami.
ظهر الحبيب مكرما ومصانا صلى الله على محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم صلى الله على محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم.
And moving on, India's journey towards a malaria-free future is a story of remarkable transformation and progress. At the time of independence in 1947, malaria was one of the most pressing public health challenges, with an estimated 7.5 crore cases annually and 800,000 deaths. Over the decades, relentless efforts have drastically reduced these numbers by over 97%, with cases declining to just 2 million and deaths plummeting to just 83 by 2023. The latest World Malaria Report 2024, released by the World Health Organization (WHO), celebrates India's significant progress. India's achievements include a significant reduction in malaria cases and malaria-related deaths between 2017 and 2023. This success is further highlighted by India's exit from the WHO's high burden to high impact group in 2024, signifying a turning point in its fight against malaria. These achievements reflect the nation's robust public health interventions and its vision to achieve malaria-free status by 2030. The foundation of India's success lies in its comprehensive and multi-pronged strategy. And preparations for the Mahakumbh Mela 2025 are in full swing in Prayagraj as the city gears up to host millions of pilgrims and visitors from across the globe. Special trains and bus services are being arranged to facilitate transportation for the convenience of the devotees. The grand event, renowned as one of the largest spiritual gatherings in the world, has prompted massive infrastructural upgrades and logistical arrangements to ensure a seamless experience for the attendees. And now let's take a look at other stories making news today. A fitness festival was organized in Udhampur, Jammu and Kashmir, aiming to spread awareness about the importance of a healthy lifestyle while advocating for anti-drug and anti-pollution initiatives. The event saw enthusiastic participation from locals, especially the youth, who joined various activities like marathons, yoga sessions and fitness challenges, emphasizing the need to adopt clean habits and sustainable living for a better future. Renowned writer, Gyanpith Awardee and Padma Bhushan Awardee M.T. Vasudevan Nair passed away at the age of 91. Vasudevan Nair, popularly known as M.T., is regarded as one of the most successful writers of non-novels and screenplays in Malayalam. He also wrote essays, short stories, travelogues and even directed films. And in sports, latest updates from Boxing Day Test. Australia captain Pat Cummins opted to bat first against India after winning the toss at Melbourne Cricket Ground on Thursday. Ravindra Jadeja has provided India with their first breakthrough as he dismissed debutant Sam Costas for 60. Hosts look in comfortable spot as Costas gives a steady start to Australia with his maiden 50. At lunch, Australia is at 112 for 1 with Usman Khawaja and Manas Labuschagne on crease. In the fourth test of Border Gavaskar Trophy, India dropped number 3 Shubman Gill while adding all-rounder Washington Sundar in the playing 11. Meanwhile, the series is levelled 1-1 with both teams winning a game apiece before the third test ended in a draw at Brisbane. Team India has remained undefeated at MCG in tests since the 2014 series. And on Christmas Day, Hawaii's Kilauea volcano erupted with gold-like lava dazzling the spectators. The volcano, known for its activity, began erupting on Monday, and its alert level was later reduced from warning to watch, with the aviation color code dropping from red to orange. Kilauea remains active, attracting attention for its lava flow. Well, that's all for this edition of DD India Live. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Lepakshi Kurana from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live.